Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Wicked for Good. And this is the very much awaited sequel to Wicked, Part 1, that came out last fall. And this is indeed the adaptation of the second act of the stage musical based off of a novel by Gregory Maguire. And here you have Stephen Schwartz and Winnie Holzman, Dana Fox, all really working on this script, with John M. Chu coming back behind the camera as director. And this film focuses on the story of Elphaba, the future Wicked Witch of the West, and her relationship with Glinda, the Good Witch of the North. This is indeed the second part as things get tense and complicated, and Elphaba's reputation keeps growing at the hands of Madame Morrible, and you have Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba, Ariana Grande as Glinda, Jeff Goldblum as the Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and Michelle Yeoh as Madame Morrible, and Jonathan Bailey as Fioro. And this film is definitely a step down from the first film. From a directing standpoint, though, I do think that it has good world building, it's vibrant, it has some intense moments. There's a few scenes that are really well staged and they really nail it, which are also some of the best musical numbers. You have For Good and No Good Deed just absolutely tear the house down. Absolutely incredible. I do enjoy the Wizard song as well with Jeff Goldblum, but this doesn't have as consistently good music as the first film, and you could definitely feel that some of the musical numbers are a little flatter and maybe not the most inspired, feeling derivative of some of these other songs. But there's a couple that really do stand out. They stage them well, they really bring the world to life. Overall, I think a lot of the effects really work, but you could tell that this is pretty artificial still, and it might take you out of the film a bit. I think overall, like the score and stuff like that, I think works. You have that energy, you have that personality that's coming into this film, and there's a few like outstanding moments where you can tell there's some really inspired camera work and how they bring this to life. Generally, this is like, it moves, but the pacing issue is like there's some songs that come and don't really hit and they slow things down. But there's so many things that this film skates over very quickly that I think it could have used some more room to breathe, which is very interesting that this is 2 hours 18 minutes. They did add a few songs to pad the runtime, but this is a film that, you know, in general, it's entertaining and engrossing, and there will be moments where you cry. Like, big moment between Elphaba and Glinda towards the end brings a lot of emotion to the table, and that can really stand out. But in general, the story, at the core of it, Elphaba and Glinda really works. The looming challenge with the animals and the wizard being not a great person, those elements I think work too. What really doesn't make any sense is how poorly executed all the Wizard of Oz elements are. They choose to like really distance itself, but there's moments where it really leans into like, hey, this is who the Tin Man actually is. This is the Cowardly Lion, and they try to do that with Scarecrow as well. And, you know, in theory, I think these story revelations and stuff like that aren't a big deal and I think are impactful. But what's challenging is like this not fully understanding like when to stop with certain characters, and this whole entire element of incorporating the Wizard of Oz into it, never showing Dorothy's face, and the much darker chip on their shoulders that some of these characters have, because we've met all these characters before. They just kind of come into their own in this way in this film, but like there's so many more questions than are answered, and I think it just puts this all in a tight spot in terms of like how it's supposed to shake out. But you know, you do have those moments that really do stand out, and this conflict with the wizard and Madame Morrible and some others. And you know, there's some big emotional beats, but a lot of this film feels like it's hanging like, hey, you know this from The Wizard of Oz, look how this came about. And there's a lot of moments like that, and I think it's a little obnoxious. I also feel like they skate over so many things with this journey of Dorothy and this group of the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion. And like, I know it's not it's like it's Elphaba and Glinda's story, but like it feels like they really wasted an incorporation into some of these characters into the film, and I think that's a shame. Like, you could tell that some of these characters get a lot less to do this time. Like, Jonathan Bailey's Fiyero really doesn't get a whole lot to do here. And there's just some elements of this story that fall flat. And, you know, you have performances from Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande that are powerful. They sell the music, they sell the emotion, we connect with them, all of those things. I think they're great. Michelle Yeoh really struggles with the singing elements, and she probably wasn't the best choice for this. And you have Jeff Goldblum, who, Jeff Goldblum, yes, and is really leaning into that Goldblum, but he has some good moments as the wizard as well. I just feel like story structure-wise, this is so push, stop, and winds up leaving some of these films in very awkward places and how they all line up. And it's challenging and it's frustrating. Like, you have some really strong performances and some of them feel like they're wasted. Like, what was Coleman Domingo even doing as a Cowardly Lion? He's barely used. And you have these two leads that absolutely killed it and are going to get a bunch of awards attention. But this is not a great film. It's reaching that good film status. It just doesn't pack the same kind of punch. And as you could probably tell, it's like that first half, that first one really, really worked. And here, there's still great moments, and Erivo and Grande do a great job of really trying to sell it. But you can definitely tell that this is all a setup and so many twists and betrayals and stuff like that as it gets to the end. But I do feel like this has some big emotional moments, especially towards the very end, and I feel like something the whole family can enjoy together. Has a little bit of a darker edge than the first one, but still, it's still in that place for the kids in the group to watch too. But those are my thoughts for Wicked for Good. Let me know what you think and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.